Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme the ball because I'm gonna dunk it. Basketball, gimme
Hello. Oops, there he is. Remove that from there. Welcome to the Extremely Mid-Range Show. I am your host, Alan Shane Lewis. So this is the inaugural one. It's going to take some time. We're going to figure this out. So first off, I just want to start off this entire broadcast with Free Brittany Griner. She's been locked up for over like 256 days. And whoops, just adjust that camera there. And yesterday was her birthday. So our hearts and minds are with you, and she should be out. I think they're kind of letting her down. And so once again, this is the Extremely Mid-Range show. What it is, it's a basketball comedy show. And don't worry if you are, if you're not a fan of the NBA and you're like, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how, like, if you watch this, you're like, I'm so lost. I don't know, how to catch up. Don't worry. I got you covered, because this entire episode is called NBA Coles Notes. All right. I'm going to tell you who to pay attention to, what's going on, and some fun, interesting things along the way. So before I can give you the Coles Notes, before I can give you the, I can help you cheat on this test, we got to do a little recap of last season. So with that being said, check it out.
Championship. You remember those? The winners, Shaq, right? Oh, I mean, Shaq, those nights are really special.
Well, you had two in a row.
I know. I mean,
I can't
pick which one was.
Breaking news in the NBA, we have our first COVID postponements of the season.
I wish the way I was living could stop serving rocks, knowing the cops is hot when I'm on the block. And I wish my brother would have made bail so I won't have to travel 6 hours to see him in jail. And I wish that my grandmother wasn't sick or that we would just come up on some stacks and hit a lick. And I wish my homies wouldn't have to suffer when the streets get the upper hand on us and we lose a brother. And I wish I could go deep in the zone and lift the spirits of the world with the words within the song. And I wish I could teach a soul to fly, take away the pain out your hands and help you hold them high. And I wish my homie.
What was the biggest problem in trying to deal with their explosiveness and their
transition defense? We made too many mental mistakes.
So James Harden goes to LeBron James as the final selection of the All-Star.
Is he hasn't played? Is he healthy?
Who's that?
James, he hasn't played.
He's
like
missed.
what happens if he doesn't?
He got traded. He's healthy now.
He's missed the last 3 with a hammy. See, and now we know why LeBron carries a clipboard with him to the.
I wish that we can hold hands, listen instead of dissing lessons from a grown man. And I wish the families that lack but got love get some stacks, brand new shack and a lack that's on dubs. And I wish we could keep achieving wonders, see the vision of the world through the eyes of Stevie Wonder. You feel me? And I hope all the kids eat, and don't nobody in my family miss 6 feet. You can make it ugly. Wish I could give every city some commissary and a
That's what we do, baby. Come through in the clutch.
Wish that DOC could scream again, and bullets could reverse and Pac and Biggie breathe again. Then one day they could speak again. I wish that we only saw good news every time we look at CNN. I wish we could never get the blues. Wish I could be like the people that got it too. I wish that we could walk the paths they doing the right thing. Hustle hard so the kids maintain up in the game. Let's go. Yes, I am. And use it, let it take you away, and be hopeful, hopeful, and he'll make a way. I know it ain't easy, but that's okay, cause we hope. Wish the earth wasn't so apocalyptic. I try to spread my message to the world the best way that I can give it.
Of course, Steph Curry with his dad, the emotions just pouring out. It might be his.
When we go to court, wish it was all good, so the country never even went to war. Why can't we kick it and just get them on? And in the famous words of Mr. King, why can't we all just get along? Hope we can find a better way to shop in peas, and I hope we find a better way to.
So that was the last year in basketball. It wasn't the best way to end the season. I was actually very happy with how the Raptors produced. Scotty Barnes getting the Rookie of the Year. That was fantastic. But yeah, that finals, it was very reminiscent, for me at least, the 2009 between the Magic and Lakers, because I was like, I ain't got a dog in this contest. All right, I hope this dog contest gets swept up by some hurricane or something. Like I just did not care for that at all. But you know what? I'm happy for the Warriors. They did a great job. But so we're gonna move on to the next thing here. Also, I just wanted to say there was a spelling mistake in that video there, and I saw it right now, and I was like, that's gonna upset me later. And now is later. So we're gonna kick off our NBA Coles Notes episode with the drama of the NBA. Oh my goodness! So these are all the teams that had a drama-filled summer and now are coming in, and everyone's kind of watching them. The first one, we got to talk about it. They premiered last night. The Golden State Warriors. For those who don't know, Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole in a video. Then it got leaked on the internet. It went to TMZ. They get only sold for like $10K, which I'm like, yo, you're gonna really give up your job and health benefits in America for $10K? Yo, times are tough out there. But it was very interesting. And then last night they had this like weird video on NBA TNT where Draymond Green basically monetized his altercation and fight with a teammate. So imagine that. Imagine you're at work, you punch somebody, you get that security camera, and you just like, yeah, I'm gonna put this on TikTok and just make money. Like that's what happened last night. But beyond all that, they're looking great. I can't lie. Like I gotta be honest here, be factful. The Golden State Warriors are in a very good position. They just signed Poole and Wiggins to contract extensions, which kind of means Draymond Green might be out of here. but they're looking really good. Steph and Clay, and also Clay looked really good last night. His legs were underneath him. He was shooting. He also got into a little bit of beef. I might post that later, but he was talking about Ronnie 2K, who like heads up NBA 2K. Very interesting stuff. Very funny. The next bit of drama that we for sure have to talk about, the Boston Celtics. All right. I don't like this team. I don't like anything. Their fan base. It's not for me. But Boston was not without their own drama. Coach Ime Udoka was let go after an internal investigation came up that he had a relationship with somebody within his staff, and I think he was let go for about a year. People were always like, "Oh, well, why should he be let go? It's just a consensual relationship." It's tricky when it's a workplace thing, because he has some type of superiority power over somebody. So that's in itself is messy. That's why the league didn't really take care of it. It's more of an internal thing. But I think he might be gone. But once again, the Boston Celtics, despite all this drama, seem to be in a very, very good position. Joe Mazzulla took over as head coach. And also, for those who don't know, Ime Udoka is married to Nia Long, and once again, I'm not going to say, if Jay-Z could cheat on Beyonce, just like Kevin Garnett said, anything is possible. Honestly, anything is possible. Yeah, but also the Boston Celtics are they're in a very good position because they've added a lot of good pieces to their squad. They added Malcolm Brogdon, who looked real nice last night. He did. I can't even deny it. He looked really good out there. And it kind of hurts too, because apparently this story came out. This was like one of the most twist the knife stories, because it was like so long gone. We don't need to talk about it. It's just we're moving on with our lives. But apparently Malcolm Brogdon had a choice between the Boston Celtics and the Toronto Raptors. And he chose the Boston Celtics, and I can't blame him. All right, they're in a better position to win. He doesn't want to do a whole rebuilding thing. He spent all that time in Indy and Milwaukee, all these teams who, for some reason, just didn't see his greatness and his potential. But he's looking really good. He's one of those like a third scorer on the team, because when you see Marcus Smart out there kind of complimenting Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum, the two J's, he doesn't have that kind of killer instinct. He can't take it to the basket. He can hit an open three here and there. He can lock down a defender here and there, but he can't take it to the basket, create his own, and look up. Because there's been a lot of good plays and actions where it looks like, oh, he's going to dish it over to Jason Tatum, and the defense kind of reacts to that. But Malcolm Brogdon's like, no, I'm actually very good at basketball. Boom, takes it to the hoop. So good on for them. The next bit of drama. So the third drama team that I want to talk about is the Brooklyn Nets. And anyone there who's been paying attention to the Brooklyn Nets this whole summer, complete fiasco. It's like one of those train wrecks that you look at and then it makes traffic for everyone else behind you, because everyone's rubbernecking, because that's what happened, right? Because Kevin Durant asked for a trade, and that in the middle of off season, everyone freaked out and they're like, oh my God, what's going to happen? Who do we trade for? What's going to, him and Kyrie, it's done. And all these free agents just didn't get signed because teams were like, well, let me just make sure my pocket's good before I, let me just see what's going on over here before I let go, right? I'm going shoe shopping. I'm not gonna, take off my shoes. Let me let me find that, right? So that's been the first bit of drama. And after all, Kevin Durant stayed there. He doesn't look too happy. It's going to be quite interesting to see what happens this season from them. One thing I will say looks really good, Royce O'Neal, good 3-and-D guy, another person who can hit threes for them. And also the return of Ben Simmons. Ooh, I'm ready for this. Here's the thing. I am not a Ben Simmons hater. All right. I'm not Philly. I'm not, I don't know, just everyone on the internet. I think he's very, very good. This is a 6'10" point guard who can't shoot the three ball. That's fine. That's something that he can figure out. But one thing that's really interesting, and I don't really like to pay attention about preseason, because preseason isn't real basketball. Let's be honest. It's not real basketball. You could look at it and see certain things and see some type of trends, but you can't really base a lot of it. But one thing that I will say, despite that rule that I have, he looked very nice in the actions they're running for him. There's a lot of just like pass and picks and moves, and he's in the offense moving, and he's getting a lot of assists. So go check them out this season. They're going to be very, very fun. Another piece of drama last night was the Los Angeles Lakers. Oh, I can't handle this team, man. I can't handle this team. All right, they coming off an abysmal season, didn't make the playoffs, and then they fired their scapegoat. I mean, Coach Frank Vogel, and they went ham. That's a terrible joke. That's a terrible joke. Darvin Ham is now the new coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, and they added a whole bunch of NPCs to the squad. They had like Gabriel Marcel out there getting like real minutes. You know, I do like Lonnie Walker, but man, Lonnie Walker is like, looking exposed out there. Kendrick Nunn's looking nice coming back, but that team, I don't know. I feel like this entire season for them is going to be like dangling keys in front of your face. Like LeBron's going to pass Kareem. It's going to happen. And I'm so happy that the Lakers have about 50 nationally televised games so we can watch all those blowouts and then finally watch LeBron pass Kareem. That's going to be fantastic. The last, I didn't even write a whole graphics for this, but I'm going to put there. Boom. The Phoenix Suns. The Phoenix Suns got rid of their owner, Robert Sarver, after there's an internal investigation about racism and conduct within the organization. And after a whole different investigation and doing all these questions and interviews with people, it found out that he used the word nigger about 6 times, which, to be honest, for NBA owners, it's on the low side. But yeah, the NBA didn't really, it was kind of weird. Adam Silver was on NBA TNT kind of trying to explain himself away about the decisions and the actions. And he talked about $10 million is the max that he can fine him. And yeah, I agree. You can't completely blame Adam Silver for not coming down strong on this because he can only do so much, right? He can only do so much. It's kind of a league-wide vote. And I think the wheels were in motion as far as like ousting that person because they got, the NBA got rid of, what's his name? Donald Sterling, and they got rid of him too. But also the Phoenix Suns are in a very interesting position after kind of, you saw the video, and maybe if you didn't, once again, thank you for joining us. If you're just joining in right now, they went up against Luka, got real excited, and the same thing that they did to the Lakers. When the Lakers got cocky, they came back and slapped them. And now the Phoenix Suns, it's kind of like It Follows, like some type of apparition that follows teams that get a little too cocky. So who's to say what happens to Luka and the squad, come next season? But they got slapped. They got slapped. But they have to move. Forgot that guy's name. Jay Crowder. That's a trade that's going to happen for them. So look out for them. They're going to be a very, very, very fun team. This next category, I like this category. I think this is the fun one. All right. This next category is called She's All That. All right. This is all the teams that you should be paying attention to. All right. Don't wait a whole movie and for them to take off their glasses and unfurl their hair to realize, oh my God, they were beautiful the whole time. Like, no, these are teams. Get in early, watch them. It's going to be some fun basketball. Are they necessarily champions? I don't think so, but they're going to be a fun watch team. All these people. So the crew that I have here that I put together are the Cavs, Atlanta, Minnesota, and the Knicks. And I'll explain why. They all have different reasons. So for the Cavs, if you don't know, they added Donovan Mitchell to the squad. Spider Mitchell, who I'm not going to, I kind of had a little bit of a person, not a vendetta. I've always just felt that Devin Booker was a better player than him for years. And Donovan Mitchell was getting more hype and more hype. But, he's a very good basketball player. And adding him to a squad with Garland, Love, Jared Allen, Evan Mobley when he comes back, and Ricky Rubio when he comes back, they're going to be pretty fun. They're going to be pretty fun basketball. If you got League Pass, definitely check them out. The next squad is Atlanta. We're off to the A. Now, during the offseason, everyone kind of expected their center or power forward, John Collins, to be traded. That was kind of the hype that was happening all season long. Never happened. And in an M. Night Shyamalan twist, they ended up trading for DeJounte Murray. Now, I don't think this team is a contender. I think they can make the playoffs for sure. It's just going to be fun basketball. You can't go wrong by adding a Popovich-trained defender to your squad. That's going to really bolster them going forward. So now we're going off to Minnesota to purify ourselves in the waters of Lake Minnetonka because I think the Timberwolves might actually be very good this year. I actually do. Last year people were clowning them for kind of celebrating a play-in win, which I think is fine. I think you're allowed, to be happy for the small victories. I think that's what makes life, right? Isn't that what makes life? We're about to enjoy the smell of a rose, and we don't have to always praise the highest things. We could just talk about the little wins that we have. And you know what? I'm excited for them because they added the Frenchman to their team, Rudy Gobert, which everyone likes to clown, but now you put him next to Karl Anthony Towns, who does not want to play center. He's got that Anthony Davis disease that they don't want to play center, even though they are centers and they want to play perimeter. By all means, want to be Dirk? Go for it. You're not Dirk, but fine. So that's going to be exciting to see, to have a lockdown defender there to push Karl Anthony Towns to the power forward, and also Ant-Man. They're Anthony Edwards, who's really good, an exciting 6'6" guard, kind of looks like Michael Jordan. Really funny off the court. Also a little homophobic. I'm going to say little homophobic. He's homophobic. And then that sorry ass apology afterwards. But whatever. On his on-court stuff, he's a very good guy. Yeah. And I also have I forgot to put. I actually have the Mavs in this category. I do have the last. So they did lose Jalen Brunson, but they got themselves some wood. All right. They got themselves Christian Wood, which is going to be exciting because now Luka finally has a big man who can score the ball. Kristaps Porzingis. So it's going to be exciting to see what they kind of get up to this season. I think Luka is getting better every season. He's in this Luka Doncic. If you don't know who that is, look him up. The Slovenian basketball player, so good. He's one of the few players in this league that can just take over a game by himself. And it's very rare. There's a lot of good players in this league that can score buckets, do something on the defensive end, and that's great. But there's very few that you could put on any squad and that makes all four players better. He's kind of got that LeBron James kind of aspect to his game where he can just like go in there, dig deep, and if you guard him double team, he knows exactly who's open and swings the ball. And his players feel more confident and emboldened by his play, and they play better. So watch out for the Mavs this year. That's going to be a lot of fun. The last thing that I have on my She's All That, I put the Knicks here. All right. Now, hear me out. The only reason why I put the Knicks on this squad is because they got Jalen Brunson, which you know what that means. That means they have three left-handed players on their starting lineup. Does that not entertain you? That's a league first. Now, I didn't Google any of this stuff, but I think that's just very fun to see. All right, we're going to be moving on to our next category. The next category is called, Return of the Mac once again. So these are all the teams with players that had significant injuries last year to them that kind of changed their identity and who they were. And now they're just getting all those players back. So now they're reloaded and ready to go. Now, for those teams, I have, Brooklyn could be in here to say because Ben Simmons wasn't playing, but I put the Pelicans, the Clippers, and Denver. Now, Pelicans, it's Zion, right? Now you have Zion coming back. It's looking leaner, looking better, and that team looks really good, man. That's a good starting lineup. Also, if you're a fan of 2K, great 2K team. Great 2K team, all right? It's pretty cheap to use them, but it's pretty good because Zion just bodies everyone out. You also have Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum, and got to give love to Valanciunas, man. Love that dude. The next team on this list is the Clippers, and man, I'll pull up a picture maybe later on. But Kawhi, he was thick before. He's even thicker now. That boy put on some weight. He is like looking look like Debo and Friday out here. It's gonna take people's lunch money. They got him back, and they also got a Dougie enthusiast and part of the Dougie Hall of Fame, John Wall, coming back. And John Wall has a chip on his shoulder. You've seen it in interviews. He's talking a lot. He's very vocal about the fact that people have looked him off. So it's going to be exciting to see between him and Reggie Jackson who starts. But him, Reggie Jackson, Paul George, I almost said Paul Wall. Hey, they have a Paul Wall connection. That's going to be fun to see. They're going to be a fun team. And probably top 3 in the West, if not taking that. I think they actually might be the team in the West to challenge the Warriors. I don't think there's anyone else that can do that besides them. But maybe this other team, the Denver Nuggets. Now you're coming back with Jokic back-to-back MVPs. He deserves them. First off, if you're on the train that says like Jokic shouldn't be the MVP and whatnot, just shut up your face. Shut up your face. Come on. He is great. He is fantastic. He is the 7-foot god who has great court vision, be able to shoot the three. He's almost unguardable. He is so amazing. He single-handedly brought that team to as far as they got, which wasn't that far, but still very far. Now, returning is the Kitchener-Waterloo darling himself, Jamal Murray. And last time we saw him, he was in the bubble just being fantastic. So it's been a couple, like this is about 2 years since he's been out. So now you add him to that squad with Bones Highland and Aaron Gordon. It's going to be an exciting season for the Denver Nuggets. Shout out to Swiper Cam out there. And now to my second last category is the waterfronts. Oh, the waterfronts. Because on the waterfronts, they could be a contender. I should have been a contender. I don't know if that's actually the quote. I know the quote sort of. It's one of those things that's just like in my head, but I've never seen this movie. But they're the waterfronts. And those are all the teams that are contending for the championship, just kind of throwing them all in there. You got the 76ers who look last night, but James Harden looking great, which is also, that's really great. Or it's really good because, you know, he's kind of struggling last season trying to find his self and his rhythm. But also, I just want to say something that's kind of weird. They had a graphic up on NBA TNT last night, and it was just like James Harden through the years. And I'm like, imagine any other job where you're working and they just like put your weight on TV, on national TV. You're like, look how much weight you lost. Like that's feels kind of weird, right? Like I was watching that, I was just like, I don't know how I feel about it. I understand this is, you know, the league and that's what you got they talk about and stuff like that, but it felt kind of weird. But Joel Embiid, hopefully he can kind of find himself. It was just one game. It's one game, but we're not overreacting. He'll figure it out. The Grizzlies look real nice. Shout out to our Canadian cousins who moved to university and never came back. They found themselves in Memphis. They tasted the barbecue and they ain't coming back to the shores of Vancouver and BC. But the Grizzlies look really great, you know, despite having an injury to if they didn't have that injury to John Morant in the playoffs, they might have actually taken the Warriors. They might have done it. Not a lot of they lost to Anthony Melton, but the team looks pretty good. They also added a sneaky pick, Danny Green, the only 36-year-old with the faux hawk. So that's fantastic for them to bolster their shooting, because I think that's what they kind of needed, because Desmond Bane can't do it all himself. He can. Don't make him. And then the Bucks and Heat, you know, standard boilerplate talking about these teams. They're both good. You know, hopefully Chris Middleton can come back early so he can help out Giannis, because Giannis needs that third person to come in there and shoot threes when no one else is hitting them. And the Heat are great. Hopefully Larry can have a great season. And if they don't, here's the thing, Heat fans, I want to say this directly to you in the camera. If you do not appreciate that man, give him back. Give him back. We'll take him. Rappers will take him. Shout out to Mike Rote. All right. And the last category of teams, I like to call this the Wembies. So these are all the teams that are going to be tanking this year, trying to get Victor Wembanyama on their squad next year. And look, I'm not saying look forward to these. Just you can avoid these games. You don't have to watch these games. They're going to have a bunch of like G League players on the court. They're going to like allow layups. They're going to score on their own basket. It's going to be sad out there. And those teams are Charlotte, San Antonio, Utah, OKC, and Houston. Charlotte has a lot of injuries, and a lot of their players aren't going to be playing next year for like off-court reasons. You know, some weird stuff. Miles, I forgot his name. I don't even want to say his name, to be honest. I don't want to give him that light, but Google that. You know, him and James Bouknight, who I hope gets some help. San Antonio Spurs, they kind of got rid of the whole team, and I'm feel sorry for Pop in his like 29th year, just having to deal with whatever he's got. Utah traded the entire farm, so they're ready to rebuild. And OKC, who lost Chet Holmgren, their second pick, so now they're just free up shot. Give us a shot too. All right, OKC fans, let them go. They're not going to win. And the Houston Rockets. I put the Houston Rockets here because they don't necessarily have an identity yet. I feel like last season it kind of felt like we were just watching them players try out for their team every single night. But they do have a very interesting young core, and I feel like Jalen Green's going to have a chip on his shoulder because kind of everyone kind of wrote him off. So yeah, and those are all the teams that I had here. If you notice, I haven't talked about the Raptors because I spoke to somebody about that. Check it out. We could still keep talking. I'm like realizing, like, man, we just talked about the Raptors with like such passion.
I know.
None of that was recorded. So.
Also, I was just so happy to see you that I'm like, wait, I guess it's what we like. If we both did a show, we'd be outside of the show having this exact conversation.
Yeah. I just want to say thank you so much to my first guest of the show, Freddie Rivas. How's it going?
I'm good. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to support you in all your ventures because you're amazing, and this is going to be a good time.
Yeah, and no, you're amazing. For those who don't know, you for sure do if you know me. Freddie is the host of the Confederacy of Dunks podcast. You can check that out on Rappers Republic. I've been a guest on that podcast for years. I remember the first time I was on it, I was so excited. I took a picture and everything. I tagged everybody. I was like, yo, this is so dope. You guys had a really amazing setup. And I just thank you so much for bringing me into that world and sharing a seat and a conversation with me.
Oh man, anytime. Like I've always felt lucky to have you, and you're that perfect blend. The show is comedy, and analysis, and you're, one of very few people who right off the bat was sort of like, oh, I do both. And I was like, oh man, this is amazing. And that's not to criticize anyone else, but like,
no, you can criticize them.
Yeah, I should say, like, if anyone else is from the show is checking this out, I do have a priority ranking, and it's pretty judgmental.
We were talking before about our relationship to the Raptors, and we realized that we've been brought in kind of young. We've been indoctrinated, drinking the Raptors Kool-Aid. So no one else that I want to talk to about the upcoming Raptors season. So first off, after seeing what happened last year and kind of losing in the playoffs actually losing to the playoffs to the Philadelphia 76ers, what would you give a letter grade for last season for the Raptors?
That's a really good question. I would say, putting on the context of like what was expected of us, I'd probably say like an A minus.
Okay.
I think that we almost, overachieved in so many ways. We surprised the league. I guess like an A plus. You can only give an A plus if the team like wins the championship. I get that we lost in the first round, but there's so many different things that went well that I feel like if you're kind of taking like a outside view of what the Raptors did and where we're going, the grade has to be really high.
Yeah. And I agree. I think happiness is the expectation versus reality, that kind of mathematical equation, and what we were expected and how far we got is great. And also, not to quote the movie 300, but we made God bleed. We took Joel Embiid to 6 games.
Please
great.
Quote the movie 300 more.
Before this battle was over, that even a god king can bleed.
I want to hear your Xerxes voice.
I don't know. I
can't even either.
I can't remember.
It just sounds like that sounds like a subsonic sound. Like anyways,
voices at the same time. It was like up here. So
I don't know.
I feel like that was like Andy Serkis or something, or the same guy who did the Bane voice or whatever.
Yeah. Precious Achua. You're right. It was what we were expected, and as Raptor fans, we're always written off in all the NBA preview shows, which why a lot of times you shouldn't watch them, except for this one.
For a Raptors fan, it's almost sort of scary to hear all these different analysts predict the Raptors to have a good season or to smash the over or all that kind of stuff. But it's warranted. I think that, I've been saying pretty much all offseason that this team is giving me major bench mob vibes.
Yes.
So the year before the Raptors won the championship, we won 59 games. LeBronto, let's not go there for now. Painful times. But we trucked the regular season, and I don't quite think we are that level. But if you look at, what Messiah's done in his career, he's just incredible at amassing talent, whether it's with Denver, the Raptors, and we're at that point. Our training camp was extremely competitive. There's guys like Utah who fairly easily made the Brooklyn roster, who wasn't even in consideration for this Raptors roster. So yeah, I'm super excited. I think that the playoffs will be a completely different story, but we're funky. We're super deep. We have, incredible young talents, and even our guys that are like quote unquote older are very much still in their primes. So it's going to be a good year.
I agree. I'm happy for Utah. I'm kind of sad he's on the team. And yeah, I do kind of get those bench mob vibes, those early years of seeing like Jakob and Fred and Pascal kind of gel together and really kind of solidifying themselves to become leaders eventually in the future. What do you think the Raptors needed to address from last year? And did they?
That's tougher because I feel like we needed to address, I guess a couple things. There's the whole where you fall as far as this Vision 6-9 thing. Do you think it's an end goal, like Masai and Bobby and Nurse want to win a championship without a center? Or do you think it's sort of like we're getting these tall swingmen that are multi-talented so that we can trade in the future? You saw all summer with the KD stuff. Pretty quickly it emerged as a narrative that, wait a second, the Raptors are the team you want to trade with if you want a bunch of good players. Like, we're the number one team if you want to make that move. It didn't happen, but I think it's sort of underlying this idea that we have a lot of redundancy, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, right?
I agree.
Golden State has a bunch of redundancy in that every single person can shoot on the team. So
it's a good redundancy.
Yeah, it's good redundancy, right?
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah, and I think the Raptors are kind of in that direction where, this is Spider-Man meme where it's like everyone's pointing at each other and it's kind of like, can you run the break and defend and dunk on somebody's head? Yes. Whoops, I hit my table.
That's how emphatic that point was. I love that.
Here. Yes, we got Koloko. I don't think that was like something we really needed to address in a major way. Yes, we had Embiid, made us look bad in certain ways, but I don't think you can plan your team around for Embiid and Jokic. And I don't think that there's a lot of other big centers that are going to punish you as much.
Yeah.
So I think it's shooting and I think it's veterans. And I think we sort of addressed it. We got Otto Porter, who's
really
a veteran, who's a shooter. That's fantastic. He's a champion. And we brought back Boucher and we brought back Thaddeus Young. And we're also, the shooting thing's a long game, right? Because that's Nick Nurse's thing. He's a shot doctor. He brought in this like a crazy machine this year.
Oh my goodness. It's like Jarvis. It's so cool. It's very Iron Man tech. It's the future of basketball. And I like it. I welcome that.
Yeah, totally. It's definitely like it's giving me major like 2001 Space Odyssey vibes. Like is there going to be a time where it's like all the Raptors were attacked by a robot today?
Yeah, a lot of DNPs murdered by sentient robot.
Yeah. So yeah, did we fully address the shooting? I don't think so. I think we only partially addressed the shooting, which that's sort of where I cap my optimism, because I think when it comes to the playoffs, this idea of being like a fast break team that generates turnovers is great. But, generally you run a fast break when you're covering for a not so good offense. Yeah. No, that's not entirely true, but I do think that, like we need shooters to come along. We need Precious. We need Boucher. We need Thaddeus Young. We need, Banton. We need Siakam to be more efficient. And I think we're going to have some major shooting slumps this year. So I do think that we haven't fully addressed the shooting.
I know everyone loves the trade machine and loving being like Monday GMs, which to be honest, I'm okay with. My hoop dreams are done. I realize I can never make the NBA, but I can still make a front office. That dream can live on forever. So, Freddie, you are now the new president of basketball operations of the Toronto Raptors. One wave of a finger, the trade happens. No pushback from other GMs. You can fleece them all you want. Who do you bring in to this team to improve those issues that you say we haven't addressed?
Damn, that's a really good question. I mean, if it's like anyone, so yeah, I'll make it sort of real.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like Michael Jordan, and you get him when he's 26. Bring him back.
Yeah, because I think of like sort of the perfect player to attach to this team, and it's probably a guy like Jason Tatum. Which like that's just like outlandish, right? Because Boston is going to be, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think he can defend. He's an incredible shooter. He can create in the crunch. He fits into this team perfectly, and then would also be our best player. Yeah, I mean, let's say, I don't know, you trade like OG Gary and a bunch of picks for him. Again, I know that doesn't happen. I know OG is also incredible, but I do think that this team is sort of, we're getting closer than we think to being a contender. We need, more shooting and more fit. And I understand I just traded 2 shooters for 1, but it's something like that. Maybe a Bradley Beal. I am probably more high on Karl Anthony Towns than a lot of people. So let's say Minnesota goes, things fall apart. Their experiment there is a disaster. Maybe
Minnesota
a guy like him.
and things fall apart. That doesn't
Right?
sound how does that happen?
Yeah, I know. Maybe, I don't know. Can we fleece Indiana? Can we get a hold of Buddy Hield or Miles Turner or something? Like,
I like that.
Yeah, because I do think that every single person on this team, even Gary Trent a little bit, can defend.
Yeah.
So we do have to start balancing it out a little bit, I think, because, if we can't score, we can't score. And back to the playoffs last year, I do think we were completely injured in the playoffs, partially because we had to overplay our guys to get a lot of wins. So I'm holding out my optimism for the playoffs. I feel like if we have an incredible regular season and we're going into the playoffs healthy, then I might change my tune and that we can go further. But yeah, just totally like Fantasyland, a guy like Tatum, even like less Fantasyland, a guy like Middleton. I think just a dead eye shooter. That's tall.
I agree. I think a lot of times the problem that we have is we just don't have the people to score sometimes at the right time, because you can score all game long and you can be insequential points because we're on a run already and you're kind of just helping it. But players like Middleton and Tatum, those are the type of guys that like are responsive to the energy of the game and the flow of it, and be like, oh, you hit a 3, well, guess what, here's a dagger back, and I've just take away all your momentum. And I like those picks that you put forward. We're talking about earlier. You have season tickets to the Raptors. I know you and your brothers kind of divvied up. Do you do a draft? I love that. That's the coolest thing in the world.
Yeah, that's our Christmas. It's tonight, actually. The 18th. We're doing our our ticket draft. I try to break it down into tiers as far as like what games do I want to go to. And we've been season seat holders since the Colangelo Bargnani year, which I think was 09. But yeah, it kind of boils down to who have you not seen and who do you want to, like, whether it's a player or whatever. So, like, I can't remember seeing Ja. So I think
so you're going for the Grizzlies this year.
Yeah, I'd be up. Ja would be up there. I'd love to see him.
Yeah. Who else are you going to go for?
I mean, I feel like it's always depending on what's on the board. I will say I'm going to let other people go for the Lakers and LeBron. I've seen LeBron a bunch of times, and I don't think this is his last year. But yeah, the Western Conference games go first, and there's not a lot of them. So I actually wouldn't mind seeing Phoenix, because I think they might be a bit slept on, and that would be a really competitive, good game. And then it also turns into like, who do you not want to see?
Who's on the not want to see list? I'm interested about that.
I think probably Indiana for me.
Indiana.
I mean, it will. If that's what's like left for me, if that's my final pick, I'm happy to see any game. And that they have the most Canadians in the NBA, so that's cool.
Hey, yeah. Is it Ben Mathurin? Is that
Ben Mathurin looks nasty.
Woo!
Like Spurs. I hate to say it, but they're pretty low on the list. I think they have a Canadian guy named Primo. But like we're scraping the barrel a little bit. The Jazz, usually
those are those are the teams I have in my category called the Wembies. Those are all the teams are going for that Wembanyama award this season. So I fully agree with you there. Probably not going to want to watch those games. They're going to be like, you could have the layup if you want. It's okay. We only have these G League players on the court right now. All right, so give me one Raptor, current, old, new, whatever, that you think would be the greatest guest on your pod and why?
Wow. Oh, this is a good one. Okay, I'm gonna cheat and give you two.
All right, let's go.
Just because he's like giving me major Vince Carter vibes and like sort of like he hasn't hit the point where anyone's been mean to him yet, and I'm afraid that when he does eventually slump, I'm curious about how he's going to take it. But Scotty Barnes is so funny. I'm so much older than him that I feel like it would be hilarious. Like I'm literally 15 years older than Scotty Barnes. So
don't do the math, Freddie. Don't do the math.
It's gonna be all this like Gen Z shit. Like there's players I love more, but I'm not sure that they would be the best interview. Obviously, love Pascal, Vince. It would be. I think Kawhi would be hilarious. He would not answer me or something. I don't know.
That would be really funny to see you just trying to crack a joke, and he's just
trying to mess around with Kawhi would be, yeah,
monumental.
But my real okay, I have to choose one is Amir Johnson.
Amir Johnson. Oh, yeah. Okay, I like that.
He's such a good Raptor. He's a legend. He loved Toronto. Before the rules changed back, he was the last high school player drafted to the NBA. I love Amir Johnson. He was a great Raptor, great player, fun guy.
That's great that you answered that, because that also kind of leads into my last question here. And so there's that joke on Twitter that like guys can just sit around all day and just list random NBA players. Give me your most random NBA Raptor player. One that you like to just drop on people and be like, who? Get that Star-Lord who moment.
Star-Lord. Who?
Okay, if I say Mamadou Ndiaye and you're following, then we're synced up. I might drop a Joey Graham on you.
Oh yeah,
Steven Graham. He's never a Raptor, but like some trivia.
His DNA was a Raptor. I feel like that technically counts, right? They got the same brain and fingerprints. I don't know how twins work.
Some Primo Brezic, some Roshan Starovich. There's some. I mean, also just like there's some really kind of like really cool ones that I think people forget about, like Rafer Alston.
Yeah. Skip.
Yeah, that's probably because I'm a Vince Carter era fan. So sure, I could say Zan Tabak. But it's like I'm just like, I'm quoting other people at that point. Yeah, I'm going Mamadou Ndiaye.
Mamadou Ndiaye, cool. My favorites to do are always Omar Cook.
Yes.
And Pops Mensah Bonsu. Pops Mensah Bonsu was my dude. Yes. I loved him in real life. I loved him in 2K. He was just a fun person to have out there on the court. And that's my favorite random Raptor.
I loved if we're just talking random guys, I loved Keon Clark too.
Yo,
he was Clark, so nasty.
So good. He had that one dunk where he didn't even touch the rim. He just threw the ball in.
Rebound, Morris Peterson. Vince Carter, who is only 1 of 6 shooting tonight. Alvin Williams. Nice feet inside. What a dunk! Unbelievable!
That might be the best dunk I've seen all year.
Oh my goodness! He just sucked the gravity right out of the building. Oh, what a play!
Even the Dallas fans were extremely impressed with that one. Look at that! He's a foot away from the rim as he threw it down.
Oh. That was inhuman.
Look at that excitement. Look at the bench over there. Look at this. It looks like he's going to just shoot a little hook shot, and his arm just keeps going, extending out. Wham!
Oh, so good.
And also, like, very rare for an NBA player, but he had very short arms.
Yeah. And he was left-handed.
Yeah, Keon Clark was awesome.
Well, Freddie, thank you so much for sitting down and talking with me. Let the people know where they can see you and hear the podcast.
Follow me on social media. I'm at Freddie Rivas or at Freddie Noel Rivas. You can check out my podcast on Raptors Republic. We are Confederacy of Dunks podcast at Dunks Podcast on Twitter. I also do a WNBA podcast with my buddy Catherine Niker, the Pickup WNBA Pod. Obviously it's the off season for the WNBA right now, but we're still going bi-weekly. But check out the pods and support Alan.
Thank you so much. Have yourself a good day.
You too, buddy.
I fuck with that song too much, man. Fuck with that song heavy. Hopefully, I do not get strikes on YouTube for it or Twitch. But I just want to thank my guest Freddie for dropping in and talking about basketball and the Raptors. All right, we're gonna finish off the show. There's a couple of quick things that I just want to go over. So this next category is called New Rules. Who dis? All right, so there's some new rules in the NBA. So if you once again, if you this is the NBA Cole's Note version of the show. So if you don't know anything about basketball, we're going to talk to you about these different things. The new rule, let me just pop this thing up here. How does one? Oh yeah, there it is. Share screen. Pop. All right, so well, those are my notes. Don't look at them. So we have some new rules. So the Board of Governors came together, and now there is a transition foul. So basically, it's kind of like FIBA rules. So if somebody gets is almost on a break and you get a foul, you can't just stop the ball and it stops the possession. It stops the fast break. From now on, it's a free throw and they get the ball back. So it's encouraging more of a fast-paced basketball, which I love. I actually do. I appreciate this rule. One thing I will say, it does not work in NBA 2K23. All right. I'm trying to grab a goddamn rebound and then I try to do like a little quick steal. You press square and I'm getting fouls and I'm getting the computer to the line over and over again. Or if I play online, I need help. These 20-year-olds are slapping me out there. So I don't like that rule for that. Another rule is, it's not on this page, but there is the decorum rule. Basically, the bench can't be just be standing up on the court and impeding the vision for the fans in the stands who are right behind them. I don't like that one. It kind of takes away from basketball. Like if somebody puts down like a giant dunk, I feel like their team should be able to go up there and beat their chest and that's part of basketball. That's part of the game. Don't get rid of that stuff. The next thing that I got is called the next segment is called New Jersey Who Dis. Once again, I'm not clever. I'm gonna come up with the same thing. So there's some New Jerseys that are out there. They're pretty good. The Jazz actually have a really bad one. If I can pull that one up, I hate this. I hate this jersey. This this looks like this in the Cavs. I'll show you the Cavs in a bit, but they both kind of remind me of when you're playing like a old school 2K and you just create your own team and you're super excited to play with them. You brought all the players in, you made some players maybe, and then it's like 2:00 in the morning and you're like, I don't have time to make a whole jersey. I'm just gonna just take the default one, and that's what this one is over there. But the San Antonio's one look good. These Washington one look great. Yeah, these are the Cavs ones. Not a big fan of them. Once again, same kind of vibe from the Utah ones. And lastly, I want to give a couple shout outs as we wind this show down. One, I want to give a shout out to Toby Fournier. Team Canada bound. She's got like, I don't even know. I think this is like UConn, Stanford, all these different schools sniffing around to sign her. She's a Canadian athlete. Funny enough, I have a weird connection. That's my nephew's niece. So they all hang out. Their whole family is tall. They're just a bunch of tall people. So shout out to her and Team Canada. Also, I want to give a shout out to Jimmy Butler. All right. Yo, he's doing it for the rest of us. If Jimmy Butler wants to wear extensions and have long hair, I feel like that's good. He's opening the door. He's the pioneer for other dudes, I don't know who want to wear extensions and potential wigs. He did not keep them. They're gone. But people are clowning him on the interwebs about that. And I think that's wrong. I think you should allow him to do his thing. All right. So that is the end of the show. But there is one segment. I was talking to somebody about like different hot takes and conspiracies about the NBA. And I want that person to be able to talk about them and share them. So here they are.
The patch on top of Kevin Durant's head will fully grow back. It will be proven that Kyrie Irving does indeed have a third eye. But then it will also be proven that it has astigmatism. It will need corrective lenses. George Hill will finally admit to being Manu Ginobili in blackface. Who will also admit to being my cousin Adam. Because they all kind of look alike.
You feeling how hot these takes are yet?
Luke Ridnour will drop a 6-part docu-series called I Am Not Kirk Heinrich. Robin Lopez will finally admit to being an Encino Man Neanderthal, and Brooke Lopez will admit to being the clone of said Encino Man Neanderthal. Draymond Green and Bobby Portis will join forces and fight Jake and Lucas Paul. David Nwaba will drop out of the NBA and join NWA simply because his name has NWA in his last name.
That one kind of didn't make sense.
I don't know what that was. Was that something? Was that anything? Let me know. All right. If that was something you'd like to see, I could do more stuff like that. But thank you so much. This is the end of the show. We're done. Just shout out to anyone who dropped by and watched it. Once again, I will be posting this on YouTube, Twitch, and anywhere else afterwards. And also the audio version. The audio version is going to be a little different. I'm going to post that tomorrow morning. It's going to be available from 10 a.m. Yeah, and then I'm also going to post the Freddie interview in its full context. If you want everything, that's going to be out there on the YouTube channel. So make sure you go to my YouTube channel, YouTube Alan Shane Lewis, and you find it there. My Twitter social handles, make sure you follow up on at the Alan Shane on Twitter. On IG, it's Alan Shane, and TikTok on Twitch, it's going to be Shoeless Lewis. I wish I could get Alan Shane Lewis on Twitter and IG, but there's this goddamn pianist who has my full name, and he's just using those accounts, and he's just not doing anything with them. And it's super annoying. Super annoying. But you know what? That's okay. We're moving on. Thank you so much for rocking with me. I've been Alan Shane Lewis, the real Alan Shane Lewis, and have yourself a good night.